Right. Now we are going to discuss about the cloning of database and application. Cloning is the process of creating a duplicate copy of database. It is treated as a separate copy of the database that is functionally completely separately. So, what are the advantages of clone database? It is useful for testing purpose. It is used to identify the downtime before installation of patches on prod instance. For example, if we need to apply a patch on the prod, we cannot directly apply it on the production. We need to test the impact of it on the test instance that has been cloned from the production, and then if it is successful, then it moves on to the prod server. Cloning can be done in multiple ways. There are multiple backups in which the cloning is done. It can be done by RMAN backup, it can be done by cold backup, and at the same time it can be done by hot backup. In this tutorial, we are going to discuss about the cloning process by hot backup. So what are the steps of cloning an instance, that is a database and an application? The first thing is that we get a mail from the client or the user that they need to clone the instance. So what we do is that the first step is to scrap the test instance. However, before scrapping the test instance, we need to perform the following actions. Take all the application information and database information like the location of the IAS Oracle Home, Apple Top, Common Top, then 806 Oracle Home, etc. And for the database, take the location of the CRD files, that is control files, Verilog files, and the data files, the SP file, and the control file threads. Note the site name, the Java color, and the number of processes in the managers, as it should reflect the same after cloning. Take backup of context file. After we are done all the steps in the test instance, now we can scrap the test instance. Before starting the test instance, we need to bring down the application and remove the apps directory. In case if we forget the location of the apps directory, we can get it from the backup which we have already taken. After removing the apps folder, we bring down the database and remove the data directory where the CRD files are there. So this has been done on the test instance, followed by to run pre-clone on the database and application on prod instance. In our case, the client is the copy portion. So what does it mean? So the client or another server team or the network team, what they will do, they will copy the backup folder from the prod to the test instance, and also they copy the clone directory on the database side, and on the application side, they copy the app folder from the source server, that is the production instance, to the destination server, that is the test instance. So this has been done. After it is done, we need to check if the copy portion has been successfully done or not. So once it is verified, we log into the test instance, start up the database in no mount state. It means instance is created, parameter file is read, and provides name and location of data files. After we have logged into the no mount stage, we log into the prod instance and take a backup of the control file threads. So the command would be alter database backup control file to threads as and mention the location. So it helps to create the control files in human readable format. Transfer the control file from prod to the test instance and make necessary changes like the set, reset logs, and locations. And after it is done, we can recreate, after we have made necessary changes, we recreate the control files and start up the database in mount state. In this situation, sometimes what happens, since the client has already copied all the files, CRD files, to the desired location, so it will create and it will not allow the control file to start. So what we need to do is that the existing control files, we need to take a backup of it and then recreate the control files so so that the database will start in mount state. After the database is in mount state, we need to recover database using backup control files. Here the recovery process starts, and we need to provide all archives for target node database recovery. The sixth would be recover database using backup control file until cancel. So what happens? It asks for the archives. So we need to give the archives one by one till the recovery process completes. And at the end, we need to start the database in reset logs mode. After the database is opened, we need to perform few other steps. Important steps, I repeat, that we need to create a temporary stable space and execute fnd con clean. So fnd con clean, this clears up fnd node table. Also, it clears up the concurrent manager table. Run autoconfig on the database node and then start the listener. So this is the process that we follow to do the cloning of database. Now when it comes to the application, we need to copy the apps folder to the desired location from the backup location. Go to common.clone bin and fire the command perl adchgclone.pl apps layer and give the context file location that we already have in the backup. So this helps to complete the cloning of the application. So in this way, the cloning of the database and application is done. After both is done, we need to perform the post-clone step, that is the changing of app's password by using the utility fndcpass, change the site name, and the navigation would be system profile site name, and change the Java color, that is a navigation system profile Java color. So this is the process that we do while doing a cloning. So we have learned about what is a clone, why we need clone, the process of cloning. Now let's discuss about few of the basic issues or the basic issues that we get after cloning is done. So this is a very known scenario. After cloning, the managers are not coming up. We get an error that says could not initialize the service manager fndsm, verify that has been registered for concurrent processing. The reason the issue was found to be caused because of fnd node tables which have incorrect node entries. So fnd node tables, as we know, it contains the node information of the instance. So in this case, the node information was reflecting of the prod. So it was not changed. So that's the reason we mentioned the issue was found to be caused by the fnd node table having incorrect node entries, old node from the source instance, and that no service manager was found for the existing node. So in this case, we need to execute fnd con clean setup. So what does it do? We have learned in the previous tutorial, it clears up the fnd nodes table. So once that's got cleared, and we need to run autoconfig that helps to recreate the nodes fnd nodes tables information. So it gets updated with the latest information. Running autoconfig on database node and then on application node and then starting up the services. So in this way, this is the solution if we get up issues like the managers are not coming up after cloning. One of the other issues that we face is that requests get completed in error or the OPP manager not coming up after cloning. So reasons in OPP manager not having a directory. So what we did is that the solution is that from the front end, we need to go to the XML publisher administrator, general temporary directory. The temporary directory was reflecting our production server. So we need to create a temporary directory of test instance and give the location in the test and give the location in the XML publisher. Once we give the necessary information and then we run then we execute the request, it got completed normally. So these are few of the basics of the cloning issues that we face. That's it about the chapter cloning. Thank you.